boy, the Fish Flicks, here with you live again for another rendition of the Fishreel, man. Thank you all for being here with me today, talking all things movies and TV, where we don't just sit here, we make content, we tell stories and generate conversations, because that's what this is all about. We are a community. We love talking about movies and TV, and this is what we all do right here. So thank you guys once again for being here with me today. And man, it's been quite a week. Quite an interesting week when it comes to movies and TVs. We got some sad news, we got some good news, and just overall a little bit of a slow start to this year, but this was kind of expected to be the case. But once I want to say springtime kicks in, that's when we're full throttle into the movie season, and even our TV shows is going to be coming and returning soon. So it's going to be quite interesting. But before we get into the list of topics that we have in store for the Fish Reel today, I want to say yes, the Fish Reel, I'm going to be more consistent with this. So I thank you guys that have been here, been following me on this journey. I must hit to here and announce that I've made the decision that the Fish Reel will be airing on Sundays in the afternoon time. I'm going to be pre-recording these and then getting these up to you guys on Sunday afternoons from here on out moving forward. Let everybody get the movies that they wanted to watch in, get either all the movie news, and then also too in the afternoon on Sundays, church, watch some of their games that they need to tend to or even work, and then come on down once that's all said and done. You come and join us and you talk movies and TV on the Fish Reel. So here on out, the Fish Reel will be airing and uploading onto YouTube Sundays afternoons from here on out moving forward. And if anything changes, I will let you guys know. And I want to thank you all for the loyal listeners that's been all part of this journey. And it's only going to get hotter and stronger. So we're live. Man, you know, this week, some news hit that kind of like felt like a pretty big kick to the dick in a way, honestly. It hit me in the chest real hard when we learned about the passing of Catherine O'Hara, man. May God be with her family during this tough time. You know, when you read certain news like this or certain passages, it sits there and it's like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be real. Like, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to be at work one day, open my phone, social media and everything, and just the first thing I see is rest in peace, Catherine O'Hara. And so when you read that, you're like, what? This has got to be fake news. This has got to be one of them troll jobs and fake death things. But as more time went out and people speaking out about it, came out as true that the legendary Catherine O'Hara passed away recently due to an undisclosed illness that people are saying it may have been a bit of a heart condition that people were saying, but has not been fully confirmed just as of yet. But she is no longer with us today, and it really does suck because Catherine O'Hara was truly a gem to this industry. She was a true gem. Her comedic timing and her charisma that she brought to every single project she was a part of was just magnificent. She was genuinely one of one, whether it's her role in Beetlejuice, whether it's, you know, her, most people know her from as Kevin's mom from the Home Alone movies. And then some people, I know you guys are a fan of the show. I did not watch it, Schitt's Creek, and that she was doing tremendous there. And then honestly, like towards like in the 2020s and up to this point, it seemed like we were seeing her be at the best point of her career, like a little bit of a, I want to say resurgence in a way, but we were seeing slowly but surely more and more of her. She was just shining brighter than ever. And she looked really timeless when you see her on the screen, whether it was stuff like The Studio or the sequel to Beetlejuice. It's like, yo, does this woman age? This woman's going as strong, sounding the same as just like she did in the Home Alone movies. And so just to see that she passed away, it was just, it really does suck, man, because I'm gonna truly miss seeing her on our movies and TV shows. And to find out that she didn't even, the Studio season 2 just recently started filming as of a week ago, and that they did not be able to film some parts with her, and she was supposed to be part of the season in a way, but we're not gonna have her for the second season of the Studio, which really sucks because she was genuinely one of the true highlights of that entire series. I love the Studio, and because of Catherine O'Hara and her presence in that show, she just elevated it to a whole nother level in her role as Patty. So, man, it really does suck. So, once again, the thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family of Catherine O'Hara, man. I know it's a bit of a struggle for them right now. So I ask if everybody just shower her family with nothing but endless love, blessings and care, and just seeing just the testimonials and people speaking out in regards to Catherine O'Hara and her legacy. Like I've seen Ike Barinholtz say something, seeing Seth Rogen say something, Macaulay Culkin was speaking on it as well. And it's just, it really just tugs at the heartstrings when you just read all the great things people had to say about her and her career, and just the honor that people had just to be able to work with her on certain projects. It's just, it really is a testimony just to the woman that she was and the career that she had in this industry. So rest in peace to the legendary Catherine O'Hara. You absolutely will be missed, and we thank you for all the great years you've given us on our TV screens and on the big screen in the theaters through your magnificent performances. You will truly be missed. With that out of the way, we finally have some type of an update on the final Fast and Furious movie. Fast and Furious 11, titled Fast Forever, is coming spring 2028. Now, that's so funny as fuck because that's a whole 5-year gap between movies. And originally, this is really supposed to be a 2-part finale. Fast X was technically Fast X Part 1, and it ended on this massive cliffhanger to where it just ended, and where it's like, okay, where does it go from here? And it's just, for how long it took for us just to get this type of update, people like me included were questioning if this movie was even going to happen at all. Because, the pre-Fast X, it kind of underperformed. Yeah, it did like 700 million worldwide at the box office, but when you look at it compared to its budget, that's a massive drop-off compared to previous films, including the price tag that this movie Fast X had of $350 million fucking dollars. $350 million for a Fast and Furious movie, because you got Vin Diesel sitting there trying to invite all his Hollywood A-list friends to come be a part of the movie. Like, hey, you want to be part of Fast and Furious? You get $20 million to be a part of this movie. You get $15 million to be a part of this movie. You get a car. He was moving like fucking Oprah Winfrey with this Fast and Furious movies. Jason Statham, he was only in the movie for like, I want to say, 15 minutes or so in the movie, and it said that he got like 20 plus mil for that small ass role in Fast X. So you see why the budget for Fast X ballooned up the way it did. And I'm starting to, I really am, based on the news that we're gathering, that Universal and Vin Diesel, they were in like pretty tough negotiations regarding the budget of the final movie, because they wanted to make this next movie be the last one, but they wanted it to be at like a tighter budget, like $200 million. And $200 million for a movie budget is still a lot. Like, if you can't sit there and make a good movie with a $200 million budget, you should not be in this fucking industry whatsoever. Like, because that is ridiculous. These movies don't even need 200 million. They should do well with 150 million and call it a fucking day. But they finally got the budget locked down. For the longest period of time, it was said to be that there was no script for this final Fast and Furious movie, because you constantly would see Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, Jordana Brewster, Michelle Rodriguez, all of them were coming out and be like, yo, I don't know when we're going to make this next Fast and Furious movie. I still don't even have a script for this film. And it was starting to become a bit of a mess in a way. Like, okay, is this movie being made? But now we got the announcement, Fast Forever, which is a pretty good title. It's funny, but it's still a good title overall, just because the legacy of everything it's built up to. It could have been a missed opportunity of The Last of the Furious, which would have been another cool name. But Fast Forever, they're finally going to get this final film made, because this franchise, man, the wheels are starting to fall off for this franchise. The quality has diminished ever since Furious 7. It's just been going downhill like this, and I was not that big of a fan of Fast X. It felt like an AI, generically written action film overall. Some highlight moments, but just compared to the rest of the franchise, I did not rock with it. I even had fun with F9, and I know a lot of people that hated F9. I had fun with that movie just because of how stupid and ridiculous it got up to that point. But now, with 11 movies in, it's time to call it a day with this franchise. Go ahead and make this final movie, because you said you were going to do two more movies, have this be a 2-part finale. Now, how you're going to go about things with the way that the cliffhanger ended on the Fast film, like who is going to be a part of it, who survived, like is part of the crew even going to be in this final movie? Is The Rock going to be in the movie because he was teased in that post-credit scene? Is Jason Momoa going to be in the movie? Like, what is this final movie going to be about? Because we got Vin Diesel saying, "Oh, we're gonna go back to street racing, street car culture, bring it back to LA." It's like, how exactly are you going to do that just based on how the previous movie ended, how the previous movies were? Like, you can't just do that. You could have it be an element of the movie, but you can't have that be the main focus and tagline of this final Fast and Furious movie. So, will I be there on opening night to watch this last Fast Forever? Yes, I will be. Do I hope it's the end? Yes, I do. I want them to end this franchise on a high note, because people are starting to not care about this franchise and are literally DMing me saying, "Oh, this franchise needs to go." This shit needs to wrap up. Literally, I got like multiple DMs from multiple people out there that was telling me this when I was posting about the news. So let's just hope and see come 2028 that they end this franchise on a high note, because the last of the Furious, we're here at this point. So Fast Forever coming spring 2028. Are you guys looking forward to it? Be sure to comment down below. Let me know how you guys feel about it. So I'm always at the movies. Shout out to the AMC A-list team. You keep me at the movies at least once a week. No less than twice a week, in all honesty. So I did see a couple flicks. One of them was an early screener. One of them I saw in the theater, and the one that I got to see in the theater was Sam Raimi's latest R-rated flick, Send. I saw trailers for this film, and I was sitting there wondering, like, that's interesting. I like Rachel McAdams, a good little island survival thriller. It could be cool. I was not expecting to have as much fun as I did with that movie. That Send Help by Sam Raimi is literally Sam Raimi back into his bag with the thrilling horror nature to him, that R-rated bloody feeling that we get from Sam Raimi movies. You get it all. Sam Raimi fans out there, I know you guys love this movie. I know you did, because I'm not the biggest Sam Raimi stan out there in the world. Like, I like him. I'm always going to appreciate him for the Spider-Man movies that he gave me that helped me with my childhood. But, I was always just like, yeah, Sam Raimi's cool. I like Evil Dead and whatnot. This movie is a total thrill ride, especially with since it's January. January is relatively known to be the dumping grounds for movies at the start of the year. A movie like Send Help was a true breath of fresh air with a truly original concept. And you have our two leads, and Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They were absolutely tremendous in their roles. Their chemistry together was phenomenal. And with Dylan O'Brien, I'll get to Rachel McAdams in a second. With Dylan O'Brien and his performance, he had to do a lot of eye acting with this film, and he just did a tremendous job, because I say this all the time when it comes to performances. The eyes can sometimes tell the whole story within a film and an actor's performance. And what Dylan O'Brien was able to do with just some of his eye work, you can instantly you tell the whole story of what's going on, what's going through his mind, and just how crazy of a scenario that they currently are in within this film. So Dylan O'Brien, phenomenal. Rachel McAdams, it seems like she just dips in and dips out every so few years to give us these gems. And she did that by giving us Send Help, and her performance being this, this sweet young lady who's a bit quirky and quirky in a bit of ways, who kind of got fucked over by this dickheaded boss by Dylan O'Brien. And you kind of do root for her, wanting to see her get her comeuppance. But at the same time, there's a point in the movie where it's kind of like, should we be rooting for her? Is she a bit of the antagonist? Is she a bit too much of a crazy bitch? And it's just props to Rachel McAdams and just how far all in she goes with this performance in this movie. And you can see the camaraderie that her and Sam Raimi must have had when they came to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because if you guys don't know, Sam Raimi directed Multiverse of Madness. And so, that's how probably him and Rachel McAdams built that chemistry and that connection together to cast her in this film by him. And just, you truly do see just the magic of Sam Raimi and his filmmaking and his style. And it absolutely works tremendously, whether it was the bloody effects, the special zoom in jump scares that you get here and there. Just, it had some pretty good moments of levity. I was surprised just how funny this movie was. I was laughing hysterically throughout parts of this film throughout, no doubt about it. Just because it was just crazy, just seeing these two employees stranded on an island together, trying to survive and have to come face to face as they butt heads throughout the entire time of the film. And just overall, it was thrilling. It was engaging. I was locked in. I dug the characters. I dug the chemistry that they had with one another. I will say, towards the middle, it has like a small bit of pacing issues, just a small bit of pacing issues to where it kind of feels a wee bit loaded. Maybe you could have smoothed it out, got it down to at least a bit, I want to say hour 45 compared to an hour 50 plus. Then you would have had an even stronger film. But that's just a little bit of a nitpick from me in regards to the film. But overall, this movie is a blast. If you're a Sam Raimi fan, you're going to love this movie. If you're a fan of survival thrillers, the show Survivor has a small part to play in it once you actually watch the film and understand the character of Rachel McAdams. So Survivor fans, you're going to love this as well. If you're just a fan of thriller in general, islands and all that, you're going to have a blast with this movie. I highly recommend you all go check out this film. And on the Fishreel, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go pretty big for Send Help. I'm going to give Send Help a solid 4 out of 5 on the fish scale. Yeah, I really dug it. I was entertained. I watched it the second time, got even better with the second time with the last. And so just send help, go watch it. Also, too, throughout this week, I did get to watch another film quite early. It doesn't release for like, I want to say another week, I want to believe. And that's the upcoming Dracula film. Now, Dracula, I'm not the real biggest fan of vampires and all that. It just never quite was my jazz, in all honesty. So I was just going into this film. They sent me the screener for this movie. So I was like, okay, free movie. I don't got shit else to do on this day. What can go wrong? My goodness, I was shocked by just how much I enjoyed this movie. This movie was actually really damn good. It was really, really damn good. This Dracula film was directed by Luc Besson, in which he's a director who is a bit hit or miss when it comes to his films. I like some of his films, but with this film and the story that he wanted to tell with this 15th century lord who essentially loses his wife in the midst of battle, and he completely denounces his faith and worshiping of God to where he's accursed to eternal life and turns out to be this long living vampire known as Dracula. And it's really more so of a love story and a tragedy in a way, because we see a man who is this lord, he's with his riches, and then once he loses his wife, completely loses his faith, and then turns into a vampire, but he's so committed to his love for his wife that he does any and everything he can to try to bring her back, no matter the cost. And he becomes very, very close to doing so, but he has an opposition at hand, and that's with our protagonist, played by Christoph Waltz, who Christoph Waltz can literally just do no wrong. He understands the assignment with every single project that he has, and just really this game of cat and mouse, and just really just seeing this character and this journey that we go on with him, and just the tragedy with Dracula, and just him just wanting to be surrounded by with his wife again. You really do kind of invest into him, and you kind of understand his motivations and why he's going about things the way he is. Still really fucked up. People are turning into vampires. He's biting people on the fucking necks, but you feel for him. And the performance by Caleb Landry Jones as Dracula, he was truly menacing. He was terrifying. And he just was locked the fuck in when it came to this role as Dracula. He was just tremendous. Christoph Waltz, like I said, he can do no wrong. His character of Abraham Van Helsing, Christoph Waltz is my guy, one of my favorite actors out there and going today. And see, like we see him just pop up randomly here and there, like he did with Frankenstein. But once again, Christoph Waltz just continues with his great performance. Also, too, the music, the score by Danny Elfman was just phenomenal. Like the movie, it just sounded good with the music and just how it all just blended together. The movie is shot pretty well. I like the cinematography that it had. The screenplay was pretty solid. The movie, where it has a bit of its issues, is that it's conflicted in the tone that it wants to go for. Like it does not focus on a single tone. It's kind of like mixed and meshed up in a way to where it's confused by exactly what it wants to be in the story that it wants to tell with this specific tone. So you kind of do get that mixed up a bit, like kind of a bit of a love story, a bit of a horror story, and it wasn't quite focused from a tonal standpoint. In the movie, it is a wee bit too long, I want to say. Just by a tad bit. You could have cut off about 10 minutes from this movie, get it a little bit more tighter to where it does not feel a little bit sluggish pacing wise and tonal wise. And but it didn't take away from the film altogether, in my honest opinion. I still was pretty engaged and locked in just based off the performances, Luc Besson's direction, and the story that they wanted to tell, with this more so being a reimagining of Dracula into more of a love story and a tragedy in a way. I was locked in, but if they would have fixed those little bitty things here and there, you would have had an even better films. Overall, despite, a bit of a tone issue and a pacing issue in a way, I thoroughly enjoyed this Dracula story that was being told. And if you're a fan of vampires and you're a fan of Dracula in general, I think you're really going to love this rendition of Dracula. So for me, on the fish scale, what I would give this Dracula film, I think I'm going to give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 on the fish scale. Yeah, that seems a bit accurate, man. So this movie, the Dracula movie, it's releasing February 6th. It's coming this coming weekend. So if you guys are interested in checking out a film, I recommend you all go check out the movie Dracula, especially if you're a vampire fan. It's pretty good. And finally, you guys, something I read about online that was just pretty quite funny to me in a way, is the article that was posted to the Hollywood Reporter. And it states that students are struggling to sit through films in film school, which in a way, it's kind of like It's like really, really, folks, like, because I've been to film school. I know firsthand. Shout out to UNLV Film. I love you guys to death. So I know what the experience of being a film student, and a lot of the time, it is exactly what it is. You're sitting there and you're watching movies. So really, I mean, you're as a former film student myself. It's like, guys, all you gotta do is just show up, answer a few questions, pay attention to the films, and then you're fucking leaving, and then you can go off to create your own other projects. But at the same time, I see both sides to this situation in a way. I really do. And let me start off from the professor standpoint, because I know professors, y'all want us students just sit there, actually pay attention to the films, because there is a lot to learn about if you want to truly be a filmmaker, actor, just anywhere within the entertainment industry. You need to sit there and understand these certain types of films and to grasp it. So I get that. But the professors, they got to realize, like, a lot of these students don't give a fuck about half of the films that you're portraying in these classes. Like, if you really look at some of the syllabus, half the films listed on them shits, you're supposed to be like, I never heard of this shit a single day in my life. Especially now with the Gen Z era. You got these kids, there are no 90s, 80s, 70s kids in these classes no more. You're dealing with 2000s kids. You think kids in the 2000s actually know about 1929 film Metropolis? You think they give a fuck about that? No. You think they truly give a fuck about Casablanca, even though that's a great motherfucking film? No. So there has to be a better balance between showcasing the films of the past and then modernizing a bit in the way. Yes, we do need to showcase some of these older classical type of films, black and white silent films at times, for students to actually understand and grasp the full story and trajectory of filmmaking. But at the same time, you have to keep the students engaged. So you can't just sit there for like 75% of the semester showing only these certain types of films. Like in the article, it says that this professor from the University of Wisconsin, he was trying to show a 1962 Francois Truffaut film, Jules and Jim, which I never even fucking heard of that movie. So I don't imagine seeing any of the film students of this today's age actually knowing and caring about that film. So you have to do a mix of both, a better balance of like, okay, I know the type of students that are in these classes nowadays. What are going to be the films? So where students are actually going to sit there and be engaged in the films, actually learn and grasp some comprehension of the filmmaking styles and the tropes that are being had from these films, to where they're actually able to take it in themselves and apply it to their own films and actually gain their own knowledge from it. So you can't sit there. You can't sit there and show Metropolis like that no more, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Some of these students, you got to understand, professors, a lot of these students, they're not, the films that got them into film are not going to be like your classical black and white type of style films. Like, yes, some people's film that got them into film may just be a Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas or King of Comedy. Or maybe it's very rare, but I bet you a lot of these 2000s kids, they probably don't even fucking know about Charlie Chaplin until they touch down in the class. And even then, when they're in the class, they're going to sit there and be like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't care about him. We're motherfucking James Cameron. Like, where's Clint Eastwood? That's what they gonna be looking forward to. One of those types of and any of those types of films. So you really do. And also too, some people's films that got them into film probably is a fucking Nacho Libre or even Adam Sandler's Billy Madison. Because we have to remember that all film is subjective, and film affects us in many different types of ways, because we're all different. We're all human, but we have different types of feelings and elements to us, and we all connect to different types of media in different types of ways. So a lot of kids, they're not going to be able to connect with these older type of films, and they're immediately going to get bored, because these are college students at the end of the day. Yes, a lot of them are there to learn. There are some that are going to be engaged and answers these questions about some of these black and white films and not fall asleep in the class. But today, in today's modern age, the students are just not going to care. So the professors have to change the approach in the films that they are showcasing and how they are for teaching these students in these classes with these certain types of films and these editing styles and all that good stuff. So you have to kind of change it up, modernize it a bit, not just rely on just all old classical films, but really resonate to these students with more modern films. Show a little bit more of those. Break down those films to where like the filmmaking techniques that they learned, and then you can sit there and say like, hey, this movie clicked. the filmmaking technique they learned this, and that from this certain film from way back when in 1950, and this, and that. And that's how you're going to keep the students engaged. So professors, modernizing up a little bit, because the students at the end of the day, they are students, because so they are thinking about, man, they probably showed up to class high, probably thinking about the party that they finna go hit up, thinking about the bitches that they probably finna go get on, or the niggas. So that's what you got to think about at the end of the day. Now, students, take your ass to class and watch them movies. You are paying all that money to learn about film and sit in them classes. It's not that hard. And what I don't understand from young filmmakers today and film students today is like, I don't really watch a lot of movies. Like, I'll never understand that type of mindset, because how can you sit there and say that you're a filmmaker, you're a fan of movies, but you don't actually sit there and you watch a lot of movies? Leonardo DiCaprio said it himself, that he didn't necessarily go to film school. The way that he learned a lot about film is sitting there and watching multiple films a day, like 4 films a day. And that's how he learned his craft, learned these acting style techniques, learned this filmmaking style technique. The best way to learn about film is to sit there and watch movies, watch multiple different types of movies from different type of genres, from different type of filmmakers. That's what you're there in those classes for. And plus two, it's an easy fucking A just by sitting there, man. Because I remember back to the UNLV days. I was one of y'all, for real. Were there times where I outright fell asleep and was probably drooling on my arm because the movie was so fucking boring? Yes, it happened. So I get that. A lot of these films these professors are showing are boring as shit, and they're not engaging. And there's other types of ways to learn about film than by watching this old ass shit. But a compromise is like, hey, I may not be paying attention to this certain type of film in this class, so why don't I go to the theater or rent a movie at home to understand more and study the craft of film this type of way? Because the best way to learn about film, once again, is by these students, since college students. Listen, the ladies is gonna be out there. Ladies, the niggas is gonna be out there as well. The parties is gonna be there. The local drug dealer across the street from the campus is gonna be right there for you to go pick up your weed or whatever else you want to do, so you can get high and turned up at the parties after classes. It's all going to be there. But students, get your ass in them classes and watch those films. And I know at certain universities, just like mine's at UNLV, they have certain type of classes specifically tailored to specific filmmakers, like I did for Pedro Almodovar. I learned a shit ton about Pedro Almodovar and his type of style of films. Crazy as fuck type of style of films that he has with his weird, zany, imaginative mind. But at first, I didn't know who Pedro Almodovar was at first. I did not know. But because I sat there and I took that class, I learned a shit ton more about film and the different ways of crafting the art together in ways that I could not imagine, because I took his class. I RIP to Professor Ricardo Reno, because he's the one that put me under a Pedro Almodovar, and the films that he showcased, I was like, okay, I'm engaged, I'm hooked, and you're teaching us the style that he did in an engaging and meaningful way for me to care. If there's other schools out there, whether it's, Black directors classes. If you're interested in comedy, go to an improv class, watch comedy films, learn about the different styles of improv. There's different ways. Just choose the right classes to where you're watching all these films and actually grasping the comprehension. Yes, I know film 101 can be boring as all shit with all those black and white films. No fucking dialogue being said, just text on the screen. I get that. But sit your ass in that class and watch those movies if you actually want to learn and be a true filmmaker. Because all film is subjective, and film affects us in different types of meaningful ways. And the only way for you to learn is by watching. Anyways, man, that's it for me on this rendition of the Fishreel. That's it from me. Thank you all so much for being here with me today on another episode of the Fishreel, man. Be sure to tune in every Sunday from here on out in the afternoons for new episodes of the Fishreel. But not only that, be on the lookout for movie reviews to be releasing all throughout the week as well, and different type of content videos as well, whether it be major news in the trade articles that's coming out. We're doing all that kind of good stuff for Fishflix Entertainment here, because we don't just make content, we tell stories and generate conversations. And that's it for me, all folks. Hope you all have a great, blessed, wonderful day and a great week for you all yourselves. I'll see you on the flip side and talk to you again soon.